I'll have baby's room up here. So now for my phone I can just hit the on off. And that's it. Now you can go in here. If it was a dimmer switch, you could go in here and dim it and everything else. Turn it back on. Alright guys, I'm back. Today's video, I figure I do something that can pertain to mostly anybody who's in the smart home. Smart switches, as opposed to bulbs or any of the other things that you can use to make your home smarter as far as Wi-Fi or anything like that. This one in particular is Z-Wave or Zigbee, which is what I have for my SmartThings system. But it would work exactly the same with Wi-Fi. So you can buy these in Wi-Fi or the Z-Wave version. They might even have Bluetooth ones nowadays. But this one, they all hook up the same. This happens to be the Honeywell brand, which is also made by Jasco. It's just a special edition they did. I actually just bought a bunch more because they went on sale. They're normally about 45 bucks, $40 to $45, but they had a big sale on them for 30 bucks. So I ended up grabbing a bunch more of them to put in the house. So these connect to my SmartThings, or if it was a Wi-Fi version, which they do make, that would just connect to your Wi-Fi. Same simple setup. So I'm going to show you how to install these. The one thing that's nice about switches as opposed to bulbs is that the switch will work no matter what. So if you don't have Wi-Fi or you don't have Z-Wave working, like say your internet goes out or something like that, these work just like a normal switch. They wire up like a normal switch. So if you move, you don't have to worry about people not being able to use the switches normally. So it doesn't have to have anything. It works as a normal switch. The only difference with this model is it's just a click. So it doesn't go up and down and stay up and down. It actually stays centered and you just click it up and down. But it still works the same exact way. They do sell dimmers too, so you can buy the dimmer model. I believe these are still on sale. I'll leave a link. I believe it's on Amazon where you can get yourself some of these. But the Wi-Fi version, if you don't have SmartThings or a Philips Hue Hub or something like that that works on Z-Wave, you can get the Wi-Fi ones. They'll be exactly the same. So the only thing that you got to keep in mind, it does have a line and a load, and we'll get to this in a second, and it does have the ground wire on top. But this one in particular needs a neutral wire. If you have an older home, you might not have the white neutral wires in your box, so these might not work. The reason is this has to stay powered all the time for Wi-Fi and the Z-Wave, not like a normal switch you would have in your house. It doesn't need constant power. So that's why this needs a neutral wire. So if you have an older home, make sure you check. You'll have to pull the switch out and see if you have neutral wires running through. Most of the newer houses will have, or something somewhat newer, like 80s, 90s, 2000s. I'm talking something back in the 70s or 60s might not have a neutral wire. So we'll get to that, and I'll show you. The things you'll need is you might need a razor knife, screwdriver, Phillips, small flathead to take the cover off of the switches, and pliers, linesman pliers, and then cutters and strippers for the wires. And you will need a little jumper of neutral wire, a white wire, just a regular 14 gauge would be. They do make these in regular toggle switches. I just happen to have the Decora switches, which is the pedal type switches in my house, but they do make regular flip switches too. So that's another option you can get if you want to do that. So this is what the package comes with. This model does come with an almond cover too, depending, so you can actually swap out the covers. That's kind of a nice feature. They do sell, I think, black, ivory, all different kinds of colors. You just have to get different options. So we'll get upstairs. I'll show you how we test and make sure the power's off and how we swap this out. It's really not that hard. So first thing, we're going to take off the plate, which is the flathead screws. Just like that. What you're going to need is one of these. It's a simple line tester. You turn it on. We're going to unscrew the outlet. Okay, so you expose the outlet, or the switch. Now, what you're going to do is, we're going to head downstairs, and we're going to shut off the breaker once we figure out which breaker it is. If you don't think you're going to know which breaker it is, just flip the switch on, so the light comes on, and then you can come back up. If the ceiling light's off, then you know you got the right breaker. But what we're also going to do is we're going to test it with this. Now, I already shut the breaker off, So by touching these wires, we shouldn't get any noise. When I go downstairs, I'll show you how this tests the actual power wire. So let's go downstairs, I'll show you the breaker. So you're going to come down here, wherever you keep your electrical panel. You're coming here, pop the panel open. You should have labels either over here, or in this case the labels are right down here, which will tell you which is which, or at least get you in the right ballpark. Like for instance over here I have kitchen lights, master bed, bath, bedroom 2, half bedroom 4. So I know that bedroom is 2, so it's going to be that breaker right there, so I would just flip that breaker off. And then we run upstairs and take that tester and you can test the wires. Now in this case I don't know if I can test the wires because this is on. Let me see if I got some wires right here. See if I can make the sound for you. There, like that. It'll blink like that when it's still active, when there's still power to the wire. So that's why this comes in handy. It's a fail-safe thing. There's nothing to doubt the fact that that wire is live if it's blinking like that. If it doesn't blink like that and you rub it all over the place and it doesn't do anything, then it's got to be off, or if the light's off in the ceiling is another way to tell. So that breaker's off. We'll go upstairs, make sure the light's off, and then we'll continue on. So now we confirm the power's off. Now you pull this out, you'll see screws here. Your wires will be connected to those screws. There'll be 2 black wires, a ground wire, and in this case you won't see the white wire because it's going to be back inside of here. But this is the neutral wire in here. Now what the neutral is, on a normal switch, it's just a bunch of white wires connected together. And they just run in line through your house. They don't actually run to the switch. But like I said, we have to add one more wire to tap that into our switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to snip these wires, since mine aren't screwed in, they're actually locked in. And then I will unscrew the ground wire. Just like that. So you get your wire snips or your screwdriver and you just disconnect your wire. And you want to remember which wire is which too, by the way. So what I like to do is keep one down low and one up high. Because in any switch you get the line and the load. So then we got to get this neutral wire out and hooked up. So we unscrew this. And then we're going to add this wire to it. So if you haven't done it already, you're going to take this wire and you're going to strip it. To do that, you're just going to pull that on there and then give it a tug and it'll take the wire off. So then to screw it in, what you do is you take the pliers and you're just going to bend it over into a loop, like so. And that'll give you the loop to go around the screw. So you're just going to do a one end. This end's going to go right on here and connect to these wires. So then what we have to do is we have to put this on here and we're going to twist it in with the pliers. First we'll bend this up a little bit because we're going to need it to come back up. So once you twist that one on, you can put the cap back on. And you just twist the cap on until it gets nice and tight. The tighter the better. Give it a wiggle, make sure it's not going to come off. Now that can get tucked in, and that's going to be our neutral wire. As you see on the back of here, it'll tell you which wire is which. There's neutral, line, load, transfer if you have a two-way switch, and then the ground. So what we're going to do is loosen the ground up. And all these screws are Phillips head on the outlet here. I'm just going to connect the ground. Tighten it down nice and snug. Perfect. Okay, then we need to strip these black wires. You want to strip them long enough that you can curl them over. Just like that. And then we'll just curl them over. Just like that. So now they're all curled. And the same as the old one, you're going to feed these on to the screws. This can get kind of tricky too. The screws are actually loose, you just have to catch them the right way, like that. And once you get that on there, you want to make sure it's tight. And crank it down nice and tight. So really all we did is left the black one on the bottom. That was on the bottom, and then the one that was upper high goes on the black on the top, just like the old switch. So the black doesn't change, it's always going to be the same. Obviously one is your line in from the circuit panel, and the other one is the black line going to the light. These are a little tricky to get on here once you bend these coils over. Sometimes I try to shake the screw out, like that. You want to make sure the wire stays on there. Sometimes they'll tend to slip down too. You don't want it to be loose. You want to make sure you snug it up real good. So now that's all connected. All we gotta do is connect this neutral wire to the other side, like I said, on the bottom. What I'm going to do is pull it down under here, because I don't want it on top of that ground wire. And then we'll snap this one on here. It just goes the same as the other one. So like I said, the transfer one you won't use unless you have a three-way switch. These switches, they actually make a three-way setup too, in case you have a three-way, which is kind of nice. So then what we do now is we're just going to bend all the wires back. And then what you're going to do is just screw these screws back in. You also want to keep in mind these switches are a little bit bigger. Obviously there's more to them with all the electronics in there. So you will need the space in there to put these switches in. So now that we got it hooked up, we'll turn the power back on and test it out. So then if you did it right, after we turn the breaker back on, there's a little blue light right here, which means it's got power. And then if you pop the switch, you can see the light goes on, and then the light goes out when the light is on, or when the power's on. So that's it. Then we'll just tighten that down and put the cover back on, and then you're all up and running. So then I'll show you how to connect this. So once you get it all screwed back on, you're going to go on your phone. In this case, I'm opening up my SmartThings, because that's what I'm going to connect it to. But whatever app your outlet uses, so if you get a Wi-Fi one, it'll tell you what app you have to download. You just open up that app and then do that way. So what I'm going to do is go to Marketplace in here. I'm going to find switches right there. In this case, I'm going to find the GE one, because that's who makes this in particular. That would be it. And you're going to do connect now. It's going to look for your device. Sometimes you have to turn it on. And there it is. Picked up the Honeywell switch. So then you click on rename. I'm going to erase all that. And I will put it in as baby's room. Done. Save. And you have successfully paired. So then it'll all come up in here now. I'll have baby's room up here. So now from my phone I can just hit the on off. And that's it. Now you can go in here. If it was a dimmer switch, you could go in here and dim it and everything else. Turn it back on. So then you're in. Then all you would do is go into Alexa and have her discover devices, and then she'll pick up this baby's room switch. So that's all you do for all of them. The nice part about these two is if you have multiple lights, I just put one of these in the kitchen where I have the 5 ceiling lights, the pot lights. So that controls all those pot lights, and I have it on a dimmer too, so I can dim down all 5 lights instead of buying 5 separate bulbs. You can just do it with one switch. So it comes in really nice when you have a lot of bulbs on one switch, because then you can control all of them on that one switch from your app or from Alexa, whichever you prefer. So that's about it. Like I said, they were on sale for $30 as opposed to like $45. They're still a little pricey, but if you think about how much a bulb is, $15, $20. For a couple dollars more, you can get a switch. If you have multiple bulbs, the switch is only $30. 5 bulbs is going to cost you $60 to $70. So it's a lot more cost effective to do it this way, and it's fairly easy. As long as you have a little electrical know-how, it's not that bad. Like I said, get that little tester. They actually give these to you at Harbor Freight for sometimes as a free coupon. That's how I think I got this one. But this thing's perfect. All you can do is stick it. It'll go right into an outlet too. It's got a little tip on it. So if you have an outlet on the floor or on the wall, you can stick it in there to tell if it's live or not. But just put that on the wire, and if it starts beeping, then it's live. Like I showed you downstairs in the basement. So if you like this video, if you want me to do more smart home stuff, I still have a bunch more stuff. I got some door sensors that I just got and some other stuff I want to do. If there's anything else that interests you, make sure you leave a comment. And if this helped you out, or if you like the video, make sure you like it for me. And then I'll get back to, obviously, the cabinet project next. I just wanted to get one of these switches hooked up for you guys. So thanks for watching. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook. Keep track of what's going on. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.